So I finally got a Raspberry Pi. After waiting so long for the Raspberry Pi 4 to be back in stock, the Raspberry Pi 5 was announced. It's clearly better, but that also meant some more waiting. To speed things up, I went with this CanaKit Pro Starter Kit. It seemed easier to get a Raspberry Pi 5 if I either spent more money or got it as part of a kit. So is the Turbine Black Collection worth the money? Well, let's itemize the kit. First, there's the Raspberry Pi 5 with 8GB of RAM. That's supposed to be $80, but it's typically way more expensive than that on Amazon. Next, the CanaKit includes a 128GB Samsung MicroSD card. That's around $15 if purchased separately. This was probably a mistake, as I could have gotten way more storage if I bought this separately. Doubling the budget for a microSD would have quadrupled the storage. The CanaKit also includes a case. I'm surprised that this was so cheap. It's only $20 when purchased separately. Again, perhaps this was a mistake. The Turbine case is glossy, so it's harder to keep clean. Yet it does have a nice look, and it comes with an adorable little fan. A heatsink is included too. To get the most out of a Raspberry Pi 5, keeping it cool is probably a good idea. The kit includes a USB-C power supply, which was specifically designed for the Raspberry Pi 5. That item is $20 if purchased separately. Also included in the kit are two micro HDMI to HDMI cables. Those seem to be about $10 each, and I don't need two, as I don't have two spare monitors for this Raspberry Pi. I also don't need the USB microSD card reader, as I already have ways to read those cards. Adding that all up, I could have saved $25 if I bought the parts separately, saving $20 to skip the parts that I don't need. Or I could have saved $5 if I matched all of the parts in the kit, but that's only because the case was on sale. So, while I probably would have changed some parts, this is a nice kit overall, with a pretty good value. What's the real advantage with the kit is the presentation. It's a great way to introduce someone to a Raspberry Pi. With Raspberry Pi OS already installed on the microSD card, the setup was easy. There was a piece of paper saying to watch the installation video. I did not do that. I just put it together by myself. No instructions, no problem. It was like a little jigsaw puzzle. That helps to form an attachment. It becomes less of a computer and more my computer. That's why they call them PCs, personal computers. This feels more special. That's probably why this CanaKit is the #1 new release in single-board computers. It could be a nice gift, except there's something of a problem. I've seen a lot of comparisons of the Raspberry Pi 5 to a desktop computer. While the Raspberry Pi 5 is certainly more powerful than lots of computers that I've used in the past, I think a better comparison is the Apple TV. They're close in price and in size, but the Raspberry Pi 5 is way more capable. It has a normal web browser. Plus, I'm not limited to an app store. But the CanaKit did not include a keyboard. That could have been a problem. Fortunately, I had this mini keyboard. Once ready to go, I connected the Raspberry Pi to the TV, and it just worked. This was my first experience with Raspberry Pi OS, but it was nice. There were certain things that I didn't like, but I quickly learned how to customize the operating system in order to match my preferences. Almost immediately, this setup felt quite functional, although I noticed a lot of dropped frames when playing YouTube videos, so the Apple TV still has some advantages. Anyway, that's the story for now. I haven't quite figured out what I'm going to be doing with this Raspberry Pi 5, but there's lots of potential. If you'd like to see future videos on this topic, you can let everyone know in the comments.